Let's go to Mike in Denver. Mike, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for taking my call.
All right.
I caught the tail end of your monologue. I just turned the radio on, and I spent the first half of my life in college and somewhat of a hippie. And it took the latter years of my life to realize that if the folks in college actually knew how big the government was and how much they do like to stick their nose in your business, I think these kids would kind of swing towards the conservative way.
I'm not sure, because I think it's all about trying to get laid at that point in life, and it's going to be tough to get laid by if you come in and you're the squarest cat in the room. Square is good in my book. I dig square, but there was a point in my life where I found square boring too. It's when I was young, and I'm not sure you're ever going to get all of them to come over, but you can get them to a point where they're so disinterested, and I think they're crestfallen right now as they see that this guy was as full of it as any of these old square white guys they always deplore. This guy was just as full as any of those were. I think they do stay away a lot easier. I think they wake up that morning on Election Day and go, oh, screw it, what's it matter? But really, I don't know if kids are ever going to concede that Huey Newton was right when he said it's hip to be square. Mikey, were you willing to change then? And, indeed now you're a little more illuminated, but then were you going to change for anybody?
Probably not, but if I did know, well, maybe there's a lack of a marketing campaign on the conservative issues at that age level.
I don't know. Who are you going to send out? Quayle's kid or... Listen, the simple fact is you got to wheel it over to the berm a little as far as being a hipster if you want to be a conservative, because a lot of conservatism is pragmatism, stuff that comes hard-earned lessons over the course of your life, and kids are always going to put the Don't Eat Grapes poster on the back of their door. They're just a little more, idealistic about things. So I'm not saying it doesn't shock me as much in kids. Thank you for the call, Mike, in Denver, as it does in the black community. That shocks me. That after years of this great society, when do we run that up the flagpole? 65, 66? That 45 years in, they are so taken for granted and so over-explained by supposedly the people who want to do well by them. Harry Reid, some of the things that comes out of his mouth about he can speak in a black dialect. You're just hearing this stuff going, what, are you kidding me? Are you saying this out loud? How do you get away with it? The stuff Robert Byrd would say. And I just look at the black community, and they're so pragmatic in so many ways. You look at the way that they've kind of been screwed over, not as much anymore. I don't want to play that game either. But back in the 60s, to think that a human being had to go to a separate lunch counter, it just absolutely boggles the mind. So I can see some of the rancor. But you would think that since that 45 years, you would just leverage your vote a little. They take advantage of the black community on the left because they realize that no matter what they do, if John Kerry shows up, here's how amazingly in the bag the black vote is for the Dems. John Kerry, an Easter Island statue and a power tie, a Brahmin who could know less about the real guts of black life in this country, will get 92% of their vote, and Barack Obama, a young hip black cat, will get 95%. When there's only a 3% slide, let's face facts. They could run Harry Reid for president tomorrow, Nancy Pelosi. People are completely antithetical to the black experience in this country, and they'd get 92% of the vote. You're in the bag for them, folks. They know it. Somebody's got to step up in the black community and say, listen, the Republicans are really worried about the Dems are trying to get another 12 to 20 million people in here from Mexico. They're going to try to make them legal at some point, and they're going to try to give them the vote. And if that happens, quite frankly, the Republicans are in a nuclear desert as far as getting elected in this country, just demographically speaking. We can leverage these cats. They need to split us at around 66-33 to get back in that game and wipe out that snide that they're under if they get the Mexicans in here and make them legal. So we can leverage them. We can get some stuff they want. It's just tactics at this point. And I never get why they won't budge on that. But you tell me. You're black. Give me a call. Explain that to me. Why are you sewing the bags for Dems? Really? Guys like John Edwards are the answer? You look at a cat like John Edwards, your BS detector must go off. You've been getting BS from, white people much of your life. You see a guy like Edwards and you don't get it, that he's just a charlatan, a shallow man? Come on.